Well, hello there, amazing nerdy people. We are going to put our tinfoil hat on today. I just tried and make a really impromptu one here, so let's take it off and throw it out in the bed with that one, because we are going to kinda make a understanding what is telemetry, what is data collection, because you see a lot of people in the sphere of Linux being like, oh, this takes data, that's bad, and oh, this takes telemetry, and that's bad, and they all get confused and don't really know what it is. And you have to understand that taking data and telemetry is almost unavoidable. It's almost unavoidable. Even personal data. I'm not saying you should not care about it, but in 2021, we cannot live in a world with the conveniences that I don't have my phone on me right now, but with the conveniences that we have today, it's almost impossible to live in a world where there's not being either take some telemetry from you or some data or even some personal data from you. It's the sad reality we live in. If you want these conveniences we have right now, with an internet browser here, cars, phones, credit cards, all of that shit, they will track you or they will take data. So let's make like a definition. Personal data is also known as personal information or personal identifiable information of any is any informative information related to an identifiable person. So basically, any data that can be taken to identify you is personal data. And there's abbreviation, personal identifier information is widely accepted in the United States, but the phrase is abbreviated and has 4 common variables based on personal or personality, yeah, is that a word? And identifiable or identifying. Again, you can you can just Google personal data and you'll get this link down here. But you kind of get the idea. Here in Europe, we have a broader scope of what personal data is. You can go read up about that, but think about it this way. Personal data is like your security number, your name, your address, your workplace, your family members, workplaces, residence of living and stuff like that. That's personal data. What you look at on the internet, like if you want to look like at the midget porn on Pornhub, that's not personal data. If they want to see what kind of pictures there, how often you're using a picture app on your phone, that's not personal data. It's data that is associated with you as a person, where they can say, if I know this thing, I know who you are. They don't know who you are by running Windows. They don't know who you are by running Linux. They don't know who you are if you shop these places or if you look at these porn sites or if you have these hobbies. They don't know you as a person. They can maybe say that you fall into this personality trait group or you're part of people that have the same interests or stuff like that, but it's not personal identifiable data. They cannot say, Joe, you like to watch widget porn at 10 a.m., then you go out over to donkey porn at 11 p.m. Then you search GIMP suits at midnight. In the morning, you look at the latest Cartoon Network shows. Midday, you are talking to someone called, I don't know, Bob, about cross-dressing. All that information may not be things you want people to know, but they don't identify you as an individual. It's just data, data about your habits. So that's personal data. That's not personal data. So remember that. Personal data is if I have that information, I know exactly who you are. I can seek you out individually in a crowd. Data collection is basically where they collect the ways that they collect that data. It can be via software. It can be, forms. Forms, like if you fill out a form to sign up somewhere, or if you go and fill up a questionnaire, if someone's asking you, how do you like this politician, and you fill out, some answers with like, I like that a lot, not so much, kind of neutral, like it a lot, that's also a way to gather data. It's basically data that has nothing to do on an individual level. Look at it that way. It's basically data, as they said here, that it can also accept input from a user. So, like I said, sign-up forms, questionnaires and stuff like that. That's data. It's basically the really, really simple way of looking at it. Anything that's not identifying you as an individual person. So if it's not your social security number, your birthday, your residence of living, your parents' name and stuff, all that shit, that's just generalized data collection. Basically things that has nothing to do with you or have as little to do with you as a person. So if you look at the example before, midget porn, gimp suits, cross-dressing and stuff like that, that's data collecting, not personal data collecting, but data collecting. Then we have software telemetry. In software, telemetry is used to gather data on the use and performances of an application and application's components. Just like when you see Formula 1 cars, when they drive there's a mechanic sitting there and being all nerdy and stuff like that, and he can see what the oil pressure is and how the components are reacting and stuff like that. That's telemetry. If you go and Linux installer, if you go Google that, we have a plethora of Linux installers here. They may ping the internet to see what country you live in. That's telemetry. It's data collection with telemetry. They know what kind of hardware you have. That's telemetry. If a software crashes, they can send that information to the company selling you or telling them what the state of your memory is, what hardware you have, what you were doing at the moment and stuff like that. That's telemetry with a little bit of data collection. It's not personal data collection. It's not massively data collection. It's more telemetry with a little bit of data collection. When it comes in and being iffy is if they want you to, for example, okay, you did this, we now need to know your account and your social security number and blah, 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 and stuff like that. Then we are talking about personal data collection and you should be worried about that. But when a program crashes, that's mostly telemetry, what happened. And why are they doing that? So they can make a better software for you. So it's basically for lazy people. Automatically crash reports that take or programs that take telemetry from their users is because we as a user are too lazy to go and fill out a bug report on software's website. We'd rather bitch and moan in a video or to our friends than go to the developers and say, I did this, the program crashed, blah, 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 and submit a bug report. For them to shut our mouth up so we don't bitch and moan, and because we are lazy motherfuckers, they are like, well, we have to track what our program is doing. So when it crashes, we can exactly see what the memory state, the CPU state, and blah, 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 and what all that is, so we can make a better product for you. AKA, they do what you don't want to do, they're submitting the bugs. And again, as you guys can hear, I don't mind telemetry because I'm a lazy motherfucker. It gives me better products. As long as they don't take my personal data. Let's round this into the Linux community. Every time something is pinging home, most Linux users get fucking... I throw my tinfoil away. They get tinfoil hat on, and they get yell and bitch and moan about, oh, this is bad, and blah, 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 blah. One, here's why it's needed. If you were not a lazy motherfucker and you submitted bug reports on the program's websites or to the developers, they didn't need to do telemetry. Data collection in of itself is not inherently bad. It's not preferable. I don't like them taking data of my buying habits and stuff like that, but this has been going on since the dawn of day. Dude, credit card sales data. Credit card companies may acknowledge that they make money from analyzing transactions, but they are vague about what data they actually share. Here's the thing. If you go back to, you see this picture here, and you will be like, oh my god, this would be so amazing. There's no data collection here. Yes, there is. If this was a good shopkeeper, he will track when items got sold. So how often do people buy olive oil? Is it at spring, winter, summer, blah, blah, blah? That's data collection. What time of day is an item being sold the most? Data collection. How many do we sell a month, a year, a week? Data collection. I hope you can kind of follow what I'm saying here. Anything you do in life has some form of data collection behind it. You can't get away from it, and it's happened since the dawn of day. It's just now that it's digital. We can see it because we can spoof, or we cannot spoof, but we can sniff our network. We can look in the source code and we can see what they're doing, and we get all, oh my fucking god, I don't want them to know that I buy double dildos 2 times a year every time I go to a swinger party. I don't want them to know that. But the sad reality is that this has been going on, well, all the way back to the hunter-gatherer tribe, you know. They were like, how much food do we need to sustain this tribe? How many hunters do we need? How many gatherers do we need? Having that data, it's information, it's data collection. So we need to be really careful what we bitch and moan about. Because data collection has been around ever since there's been some form of transaction between people. And even before that, when is the best time to find a mate? When is the best time to go to the beach? You know, all of these things, that's your own data collection that you have up here. You know that through experience that it's not so great to go to the beach in the middle of winter while it's below 100 outside or something crazy like that, and then dip your little penis into the water. You found out that's not good. That's data collection. You collected some information that you can use to your advantage. That's data collection. Where we should be really tinfoil hat times 10 million is personal data. This is what you should care about. Telemetry and data collection in general. You can't avoid it, especially data collection. And you want telemetry because you don't want to be the tester of a software. You don't want to go on to XYZ software's webpage and then submit a crash report. Experience has shown the world that people don't want to do that. So how can a software developer make a good program for you? They can take telemetry. But as an intelligent human being, you must understand that telemetry, personal data, and generalized data collection are 3 different things with 3 different goals, with 3 different importance. So this was a brief little introduction or talk about personal data, data collection, and telemetry. See you all later. Bye bye.